Hello, welcome back to Miss Bell's channel. Today in class we're going to learn about graphs, and we're going to learn about why graphs are useful and how we can look at graphs and interpret them and understand them. So graphs are a way for us to understand the data that we collect. I'm going to teach you how to create a graph based on some data that we collect as a class, and then we're going to answer some questions about the graphs that we create. So we're going to create two different types of graphs today. The first one is called a pictograph, and the second one is a bar graph. So the first one we're going to do is a pictograph. So we're going to create a pictograph of our favorite desserts. So the choices that I'm going to give you today are ice cream, cake, pie, or a cookie. So I'm going to leave this down here so I can easily see the data that we're going to collect. So I'm going to have you think for a second, what's your favorite one of these choices? And I know you might have other choices, but I want you to choose one of these desserts. Okay? And then I'm going to ask you to raise your hand if you want to choose one. When I say it, you're going to raise your hand. Okay? So whatever one you want to choose, raise your hand. So raise your hand if you would like to choose ice cream. Okay, 4 of us. Our favorite is ice cream. Raise your hand if your favorite is cake. 1, 2. Okay. 2 of us. Our favorite dessert is cake. Raise your hand if your favorite dessert is pie. 1. And raise your hand if your favorite dessert is a cookie. It could be any kind of cookie. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. So this is the data that we collected on our favorite desserts. So we are going to create a pictograph of our class favorite desserts. So I'm going to have the title be favorite desserts. Whenever you create a graph, you always want to have a title so it's easier to understand. And I'm going to create 4 categories for our 4 favorite types of dessert. So the first one is going to be ice cream. The second one is going to be cake. The third one is going to be pie. And the 4th category is a cookie. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to separate my categories using lines. Draw a line under the title. Alright, so now that we have our graph here, we're going to use pictures to represent the number of people that like either ice cream, cake, pie, or cookies. So for ice cream, raise your hand if you can tell me how many of you said ice cream was your favorite dessert. Yes, 4. And how did you know it was 4? because we wrote it down and we used our data, and 4 of us raised our hands that we really like ice cream. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw little ice cream cones to represent the 4 students who chose ice cream. Cake. How many students chose cake as their favorite dessert? Yes. 2. Very good. So I'm going to draw 2 cakes. And then I'm going to do the pie. How many students chose pie? Yes, only 1. So I'm only going to draw 1 slice of pie here. And cookie. How many students chose a cookie as their favorite dessert? 3. Very good. So I'll draw 3 cookies. Make them chocolate chip cookies. They could be any type of cookie though. Right. So now that we have our pictograph, this is something that can help us understand the data that we collected, which were our favorite desserts. So let's take a look at this pictograph and let's think about what dessert was the most favorite in our class. Do you think it? Raise your hand if you think it was ice cream. Raise your hand if you think it was cake, pie, cookie. Okay, so it was ice cream because ice cream had 4 people who chose that as their favorite. So this is our classroom's most favorite dessert. The most people like ice cream. What was our classroom's least favorite dessert? That means the least or the smallest amount of people like this dessert. It is pie because only 1 student chose pie. Okay, my last question about this pictograph. How many students chose cake as their favorite dessert? It is 2, and you can just count and say 1, 2. 2 students chose cake as their favorite dessert. Very good. Okay, any questions about our pictograph so far? No? Okay. Raise your hand if you are excited to do another pictograph. Good, I'm so excited. So the next one that we're going to talk about is what are our favorite after school activities? So what are some things that we really like to do? So I'm going to title this one Favorite after school activities. So let's come up with some activities that we really like to do after school. Let's come up with 4 things that we really enjoy to do. Yes. You like sports like baseball and football and things like that. Okay, so I'll write sports. What's something else you like to do? Okay, you like to go to the park. It's always fun. What else do we like to do? Okay, so you like to play on your tablet. And one more thing that you really like to do after school. Your homework. Good. Very good. Okay, so even if one of these choices, your favorite, is not up here, I still want you to choose one of these, and then we can make our pictograph with this. And it's okay if yours isn't up here. Okay, so raise your hand if your favorite thing to do after school is sports, whether it's baseball, football, soccer, any type of sport. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Raise your hand if your favorite activity after school is going to the park. 1, 2. Raise your hand if your favorite after school activity is playing on your tablet. 1, 2, 3. And raise your hand if your favorite after school activity is homework. 1. Very good. Okay, so this is the data that we collected. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take these 4 categories: sports, park, tablet, and homework, and we're going to put those into different categories on our pictograph. So my first category is going to be sports. My second category is going to be the park. My next category is going to be tablets. And my last category is going to be homework. Okay, so remember, when we do a pictograph, we use pictures to represent the people that are in each category. So sports has 4 people, so I would need to come up with some sort of picture to represent sports and have 4 of those for 4 people. So for sports, I'm going to do baseball. And that represents 1 person who likes sports. Two people. 3 people. And 4 people. The next favorite after school activity is going to the park. Raise your hand if you can tell me how many people said that their favorite after school activity was going to the park. 2, very good. So I'm going to have to come up with a symbol that represents 2 people. So I know when I go to the park, I like to go on the swings. So I'm going to draw a swing set to represent 1 person. And I know that 2 people like to go to the park, so I need to draw 2 swing sets. So that represents 1, 2 people. The next category, favorite after school activity, was tablets. How many people like to play on their tablets after school? 3, very good. So I'm going to draw 3 tablets to represent 3 people. Remember that each tablet represents 1 person. So that is 3 people for tablets. And how many people chose homework as their favorite after school activity? 1, very good. so now that we have our pictograph, we're going to answer some questions about this graph. So my first question is, what after school was liked the most? Which would mean that the most people chose this after school activity. Which one would you say it is? Would you say it's sports, the park, tablets, or homework? Yes, it's sports because 4 people chose sports, and that is the most out of all of the favorite after school activities. Which after school activity was the least favorite, which means the smallest or the least amount of people liked this activity? It is homework because only 1 person chose that. And how many people chose their favorite after school activity as playing on their tablet? 3. 1, 2, 3. 3 people chose playing on the tablet. Very good. Any questions about this? No. We deserve a snack break after all of that hard work. So let's go ahead and let's grab our snacks, and we'll have 10 minutes to have our snack, and then we'll learn about bar graphs. Welcome back from snack. I hope that you had a healthy snack and you're feeling energized and ready to learn about bar graphs. So we are going to learn about bar graphs and collect some data on some of our other favorite things. And a bar graph is a different way to show data that you collect, and we can look at the bar graphs to help us understand what we collect. So what we're going to collect data on right now is what is our favorite food. And remember, if one of the options is not one of your favorite foods, that's okay. I want you to choose the one that you like the most. So the 4 options that I'm going to give you today are pizza, tacos, burgers, and salad. So I want you to think about which one of these is your favorite, and then I'll have you raise your hand if one of these is your favorite when I say it, okay? So raise your hand if salad is your favorite. 1, 2, 2 people said salad. Raise your hand if pizza is your favorite. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 people said pizza. Raise your hand if tacos are your favorite. 1, 2, 3. And raise your hand if burgers are your favorite. 1 student. Okay, so we always need to come up with some sort of title to tell us about our graph, and the title that I'm going to come up with is favorite food. And so for this one, I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I'm going to put our categories down here. And then I'm going to put numbers that come up the side. And since the most amount is 4, I'm only going to make it to 4. So this will be 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and then down here I will put the different types of favorite foods, and I'll show you what this means once we start actually creating it. So my first one is salad, pizza, tacos, and burgers. And I put them sideways because it's kind of hard to squeeze in that word, so sometimes it's helpful if you write it sideways. So for salad, how many people said salad was their favorite food? 2. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go up to the 2 and I'm gonna draw a bar to represent that 2 people said salad. Pizza is next. How many people said that pizza was their favorite food? 4, very good. So I'm gonna go up to 4 now. I'm gonna go right here to represent that 4 people said pizza. Tacos. How many people said tacos? 3, very good. So I need to go to the 3 to represent 3 people. Burgers. How many people said burgers? 1, very good. So then I'll draw a bar for 1. So if you look at this bar graph, you can easily see the type of food that the most people liked, and you can also easily see the type of food that the least people like. So this is a way to help us understand data that we collect. So which food do most students like the most? Which food do students like the most? It is pizza. If you look here, the bar goes up the most. It's the biggest and the longest bar. What is pizza? Which food do students like the least? Which means the smallest amount or the smallest bar. The one with 1 student, which is burgers. See how much smaller that is than the pizza and the tacos? How many children like salad the best? It is 1, 2 people like salad the best. Any questions about our bar graph that we created today? No questions. Very good. Okay. So thank you for watching today. That is all we are going to be learning about in class today. I hope you learned a lot about bar graphs and can interpret graphs better now. I hope you have a restful sleep. Good night.